Trauma can time travel. Are we all star-crossed? I spent quite some time on my social media accounts. My parents keep pestering me, put your phone down and study. But it's not always a waste of time. So, scrolling away my time some time ago, I saw this post on Instagram and I added it to my favorites. Just like that. Fast forward, 6 months ago, my English teacher announces there will be a TED event in Athens, and of course I had to take part. I desperately needed a topic, but how easy is coming up with just one when I'm interested in 1,000 things at the same time? Well, like me, the connections among my wonderfully active neurons made me think of that post, and I'm really grateful it did. I just set off on a wonderful journey of knowledge and self-exploration that I want to share with you. If you bear with me for 3 more minutes, okay? To begin with, let me ask you some questions. How many of you relate if I say that I argue with my parents on a daily basis about doing homework, grades, your phone, going out? Now, how about feeling that your parents may not like you for being who you are? Does it feel like that sometimes? Well, don't worry, they adore us. The problem is, they themselves may be suffering from generational trauma and they need our support. So, let me explain. It's not just the natural characteristics we have inherited from our parents, like hair, height, or eye color. There's so much more that is not obvious, including their family's emotional history, their great-grandparents, their grandparents, their parents, anxieties, fears, prejudices, and phobias. All these complexes have become theirs too, passed down through cultural expectations, behaviors, and even their genes. Each generation, globally and as a nation, has its own defining historical events. Holocaust, 9/11, wars, slavery. And to narrow it down to our country, Greece, who were enslaved for 400 years to the Ottoman Empire, fought in both world wars, and have been experiencing a financial crisis since forever. And on a personal level, our parents may have experienced trauma within their family setting. Poverty, illness, physical or verbal abuse, loss of a parent, and long-term unemployment. All this pervade generations and affect the way they grow up. Trauma can time travel. If your parents are protective, bossy, control freaks, and angry most of the time, or on the contrary, if they prefer isolation, are unable to express their feelings, they show inability to connect or trust others, including you, well, this might be their own faulty way of coping with the trauma they have inherited and are not aware of. So, are we all star-crossed, doomed to eternal misfortune? Of course not. The good news is that generation trauma is not a cycle that cannot be broken. With access to proper mental health care and support from our loved ones, we can stop it. It may not be too late for our parents, and definitely not for us. Yes, Generation Z has been exposed to a plethora of trauma in our young lives, including all of the above, as well as racial injustice, police brutality, and pandemic-related concerns. Personally, I relate to this as there are nights I cannot sleep for no obvious reason. I see peers overtaken by anxiety, fearfulness, and irritation, and suffering from low self-esteem. Are you currently dealing with any of these issues? Well, it's okay. To stop generational trauma, we must prioritize our and our loved ones' mental health. It is essential that we spread the news about generational trauma, we begin productive conversation within our family, that we ask parents to tell us their story, share their trauma openly with us. If they think they need more help, they should reach out to a therapist. Let's break the cycle.